What's up, y'all? It's Silent. Back with some more information for today. Peace to the ladies, peace to the fellas out there. Um, yeah, so today I wanted to, this ain't really a teaching, but I wanted to speak on some things about certain people that call themselves teachers or influencers. At the end of the day, in this game of life that we all play, we all have our own perception of it. Whatever your perception is of life is what it's going to be for you. That doesn't mean that the same way you look at life, somebody else is going to look at life the same way. It don't mean that. Everybody got their own perceptions and their own views and how they look at life. I see a lot of people out here that call themselves influencers that try to put their own perceptions on the rest of the world to make it like that's the truth. That's not the truth. Everybody got their own purpose in life. You can't make your purpose everybody's purpose because everybody ain't here to do the same shit. Right? But you get a lot of people that are, oh yeah, I do this, so you should do that. Oh yeah, I fasted, so you should fast. How you know if they need to fast? How you know if they need to fast? They probably don't need to fast. They probably already got discipline. They probably just came off a fast. You don't know what they've been into. Right? But just because you think you got the higher knowledge, oh yeah, go for what I'm saying, but you can't do that. Everybody got their own shit. Everybody got their own lifestyle that they have to live. You can't tell nobody else what lifestyle they should be living. You don't have no right to do that. No right. Whatsoever. That's why I say when you talk about teaching people, you don't teach people to think as what you telling them. You teach people to think for themselves. That's what you do. Right? So, when we talk about the educational system and how the educational system is ran, right? The educational system does not teach these children to think for themselves. The educational system teaches the children to think as what they are telling them. Right? So, thinking in the form of, oh, I have to go to college, then I have to get a job, right, to pay for my bills. Right? That's how they teach you to think. This is just how life is supposed to be. Right? But really, in all honesty, these kids should be taught to think for themselves. So this is when you talk about being more of a critical thinker. Critical thinking is thinking from your own perception and view of life, not from what somebody else done told you, or you following the social norm. Right? That's being a critical thinker. Right? So you have some people out here that'll think something for themselves from a critical aspect and try to put that onto others. Okay, so I do it, so you should do it. How you gonna tell me that? I don't want to do that. Oh, well, you're not that. Then they try to put the negatives over you. How you gonna put a negative over me because I don't want to do what you do? That ain't the life I want to live, nigga. You can't have me do some shit I don't want to do. I can't make you do some shit that you may not want to do. Everybody got their own lifestyle. This is why I said about motivational speakers. A lot of these motivational speakers, these are some of the most corniest motherfuckers on the planet. Because how the fuck is you gonna tell somebody else what they need to do with their life? Are you doing what you supposed to be doing in your life? If you ain't doing what you supposed to be doing in your life, then how the fuck is you gonna tell somebody else what the fuck they need to be doing in their life? That don't make sense. You need to be making sure that your lifestyle is the way you want it to be, and stop worrying about what other people need to be doing. Because when you talk about laziness and being lazy, there's no such thing as being a lazy person. It's no such thing as being lazy. People just don't have discipline. When you don't have discipline, that's what makes you lazy. Right? Because when you don't have discipline, you don't want to do anything. Because a lot of people think that discipline is waking up doing the same shit every day. That's challenging. That's not necessarily discipline. Because every day is not going to be the same. If you have one day that you wake up and it's a lot of chaos, it's a lot of shit going on, you got to be here, you got to be there. You might have got into a altercation, a fight. You may have had to fight a motherfucker, but you still gonna remain back to the shit that you do. That's discipline. Because most of us, when we get in certain situations, we lose interest of doing something that's beneficial to us because our mind is focused on something else. Right? That's also emotional intelligence. Right? Because when you have emotional intelligence, you learn how to deal with life as opposed to seeing something out and then going about it from your own understanding. Right? So, discipline is being able, right? Listen to me carefully. Is being able to refer back to the things that you normally do, right? Besides the consequences of what happened in your day. That's discipline. That's true discipline. Right? And a lot of people get discipline mixed up. They think it's something else. Right? Because you get a lot of people that think that resting is weak. Oh, resting, a man that rests himself, that's weak. Well, if you don't rest yourself, then your body is not going to be right. Your mind is not going to be clear. Your mind needs to be cleansed. Your mind needs to function. Them neurons need to be working. If your neurons ain't working, then that means your body ain't going to function properly because the brain controls the body. That's why you get motherfuckers that be so clumsy and falling and stubbing their motherfucking toenails and shit because their brain is not right. So you have to rest yourself. Right? But the discipline is, okay, today I ain't going to do too much, but tomorrow I'm back at it. That's discipline. Not just you always doing the same shit every day. Because you have to challenge yourself. You have to test yourself as well. Because sometimes if you don't do something for a certain amount of time, you may lose interest. Right? So, that's what I'm saying. About people and people trying to put their perceptions of life onto other people, right? You have to live your own life according to how you want it to be lived from your own view. Can't nobody tell you how to live your life. Nobody. Can't nobody make you do something that you don't want to do. Can't nobody do that. I don't care what anybody tell you. Not even your damn parents can make you do some shit that you don't want to do. Right? If you are an adult, right? Can't nobody tell you what to do. You have to do what you want to do for yourself. Because it's your own individual lifestyle. Right? What Rod Hayes tell you? Rod Hayes say we all got our own gifts, our own qualifications that we bring into this life. Right? So if you got your own gift, you got your own qualifications, then you have to find a way to make yourself useful with the gifts that you have. Right? Because like I said, with the educational system, they don't teach these children to be their own individual God-like self, right? This is why you have a lot of people out here now in our community that's starting to say that we are not supposed to be playing sports. The reason why they're saying this is because if you are a God-like being, right, you come here to do God's work. If I'm playing football, getting my motherfucking body jugged around, and motherfuckers trying to take my head off my body, and playing motherfucking basketball and having motherfuckers try to come block my shot and they throwing me around the court, right? How am I doing God's work? If I'm God, how am I doing God's work? By entertaining people, right? A God is not supposed to entertain people. It's supposed to inform people and lead the people to a better destination or a greater destination, not just entertain you, right? So this is why you see why people are using that type of talk now into their own vocabulary, because they understand that they're not doing God's work by entertaining people. See, they tell you that you're supposed to have a 9 to 5 and that's your purpose in life. Your true job in life is to help your people with the gifts that you have, right? I'm doing what's my gift by teaching, making videos and studying and doing the shit I'm doing. This is my God's gift. Healing. Not only myself, but healing those who are around me that need to be healed. Those that need to be led to a greater path in life. That's my job. That's what I'm supposed to do as a man. And as a God-like being. Right? So, you have people here that's not doing God-like things because they wasn't taught to be God. It was not giving the instructions on how to be God. You know, that's why you also, on the other hand, you get motherfuckers that, oh, I'm God, I'm a God, but they ain't did nothing that's God-like. How you gonna call yourself God if you haven't done anything that's God-like? You can't call yourself God. Right? You just want to be recognized as a God. Right? But you don't fit the description of a God. Right? Because if you was really the God that you say you is, the energy that you carry would be so powerful that a lot of people wouldn't even want to be around you, because you carry such a powerful sacred energy that they cannot align with you. They can't. So they can't be around you. Right? Your spirit irritate their demons. Right? So they can't be around you if you was a real God-like being. Right? But since you are not God, and you say you is God, or you want to be God, this is why your life is not fulfilled. It doesn't have any purpose to it. Because you ain't doing God-like shit. You sitting around waiting for another motherfucker to give you some information, so you can feed your ego all of these lies that you are God. Because anybody can tell you something, but until you realize who you are for your own self, right, that's going to be the deciding fact, right, of what you are, until you realize it for yourself. right? So you have to realize it for yourself. A lot of people like to pit their own beliefs, their thoughts, their perceptions onto people, right? Because they think that their information is the only information that matters, which is not true. Everybody got their own information. I got my own. Dude over here got his own. The sister over there got her own information. We don't all think the same. We may have the same ambitions, right, to liberate our people, but we don't think the same way. We may have different ways to liberate our people. So that's why I say about people, you gotta start thinking for yourself. Right? You can't let other people's opinions to control your life. You can't allow their opinions control your life. Right? Because you're gonna have to think for yourself, no matter if you like it or not. You have to think for yourself. You have to think. You can sit and watch as many videos of other people saying shit as much as you want. You can do that as much as you want. But you have to go up in here. You gotta go up in here and see what you believe, what you think is right. Right? Because a lot of people, over the course of time of them watching somebody, this person may say something that they may disagree with. Okay? So if someone says something that you disagree with, then what does that mean? That means that you have your own view on it. You have your own perception. Alright? Because you could be watching a motherfucker and they could tell you, let's just go around killing people for no reason. You might be like, what the fuck? The fuck is this motherfucker talking about? I don't want to go kill nobody for no reason. Without no purpose behind it. Right? So you gon', I ain't listening to this motherfucker no more, That's how, and that's normally how it be for some people. When people be listening to people and putting all they energy into people, right? And then that person may say some shit that's crazy, and then they be like, man, I can't watch them no more. You shouldn't have been watching them in the first place. You can hear them, what they saying, but don't get so involved in they shit to where you believe in everything they say. Right? Because they could be here to manipulate you to get you to go against yourself. They may not be here to teach you. You know what I'm saying? They may not be here for that. They here to have you acting crazy around this motherfucker. Right? And then, once you start following some people and following what they doing, then now you may be at risk of your own life of going to jail, following these motherfuckers and doing what they want you to do. And thinking they the messengers and all this shit. Right? And I'm saying, referencing to, you just looking at everybody else as the advisor rather than thinking for your own self. So it's what it is, man. You gotta think for yourself. You have to understand the meaning of self and going off your own knowledge. Now, I'm not saying that you should become so aware of yourself to where you neglect information from others. No, because other people have information as well that could help you evolve within yourself. But always go off your inner voice that you have within yourself rather than just listening to what everybody else is saying. You know what I mean? Because it's something in you that has information, right? You just have to go within yourself and get the information, right? And then you will have the knowing of yourself and what you bring into this lifetime, right? So that's just what it is on that type of talk, you know. Because a lot of people can lead you down a path that you don't want to be on, right? And all of that could have been prevented had you learned yourself, right? But, listening to other people got you caught up in the mix, right? Like the same, when they talk about cults, right? Like John Jones, right? I think that was his name, John Jones. The white guy out there, I think his name was Jim Jones or John Jones, something like that. The white preacher. That man had all them followers that lived on his land that he had, right? But then he ended up killing all of them, right? Because from his own spiritual beliefs, he thought that the devil was going to come demolish everything that they had, right? That was his philosophy. The devil going to come and take everything we got. And he ended up killing all of his followers, killing all of them, right? He was a cult leader, but he was acting like a preacher, right? But most of the people that he killed was black people. It was people that was coming from the hood, from the ghettos, the trenches, that was following his word because he was, helping people. They grew their own food. They had their own hospitals, had their own medicine. They had everything you could need living off the land. But then that nigga ended up killing all of them, right? Because he had supposedly spiked the Kool-Aid, right? So he had some Kool-Aid out for his followers to drink on because they was outside listening to his lecture. Everybody had a cup of that Kool-Aid and everybody drank it. When they drank that Kool-Aid, most of them start coughing and shit, coughing up blood, falling to their own death, right? And people just started to die while he was doing his speech, and that's how it ended up happening because he ended up killing himself. And things like that happen, but that's what can happen. When you listen to people and you think that people are authentic. A lot of people be having their own agendas that they be trying to push, and you gotta be careful. You gotta pay attention to certain people out here. Not everybody is who you think they are. Not everybody want the best for you. Most people be up to no good, and they ain't gonna tell you because they know if they tell you what they up to, you gonna leave, right? Unless you just a crazy person and you on the same type of time they on, But man, that's what it is though. But That's why you need to listen to yourself, go off your own understanding of life. Don't let nobody tell you what you should be doing. Only do what you want to do. Because if somebody make you do something that you don't want to do, it ain't gonna never feel right to you because you don't really want to do it. Right? You gonna be doing that out of fear rather than doing it out of true love. You know. So yeah. This is what you have to pay attention to. Go off your own inner voice. And you'll be alright if you do that, But that being said, this was just some quick information. I may be back on here tomorrow with some more stuff I wanted to talk about and teach about and go over. But with that being said, this is Silent. I'm out. Peace.